Hi, I'm Josh Bartholomew, Corporate Technical Service Representative for Oxbo International, Hay and Forage Division. Behind me is the Oxbo 334 hay merger. The purpose of this video is instruction, setup, and maintenance for your new hay merger. It is very important to install safety stops whenever working on this machine. One's located here for the cylinder and one more inside the pin as the second safety precaution for the center head. Next, we're going to discuss how to connect the Oxbo merger to a tractor. Start off with a 2-point hitch, here and here. You can see the shims in between the hitch links on the Oxbo merger. This is to take up any slop when connecting your 2-point hitch to the Oxbo hitch links. Next, in connecting the merger to the tractor is the PTO shaft. There's a decal on the front of your hitch that shows where to put in the input shaft to the gearbox. This is very important as you do not want the PTO when telescoping to bottom out and cause damage to the merger or your tractor. Also, a very important part is moving your drawbar out of the way. If your 2-point ever settles, the PTO could rest on the drawbar and damage the PTO. Next is the connection to the tractor. We'll start with hydraulic hoses. Here is pressure and return for your fold and float of the Oxbo merger. Up here, your skid shoe adjustment for the height of the heads. This owner-operator has taken colored zip ties, put them on his machine and on the hoses so he remembers how to hook it back up when he takes the merger off of the tractor. Next is your electrical connections. 4 connections in total. 2 here, and up here is your bulkhead that you mount to your tractor that comes with your Oxbo merger. Another important part of setting up your merger is making sure that your beam height is at 74 to 75 inches. There's a decal on the tank to remind you. This is very important for your head's consistency of picking up material. This chain is here to graze stubble in your field. It's to monitor settling of the 2-point. You can look back throughout the day to make sure that your 2-point is not settled. If it has, you can adjust as necessary. Here we have the merger control box. All the functions of your Oxbo merger are controlled here. The all fold and all float switch. Up is all heads into float. Down will fold all 3 heads with one switch. Here is the right hand conveyor, float and fold. Center conveyor, float and fold. And left hand conveyor, float and fold. There are 3 green LED lights. This is how you know that your machine is floating when in operation across the field. We have your all conveyor stop switch, which allows the pickup heads to continue running and the belts to be stopped. We have the directional controls. Left hand, center, and right hand. For the belts to go to the right, to the left, or off. It is important to keep your merger greased. Refer to your operator's manual for specific greasing frequency. In 2014, we will have an auto lube option that can be retrofitted to any Oxbo triple merger. The Oxbo triple merger is a rear wheel steering machine. It uses steering cranks and mechanical linkage that attaches to a pivoting hitch. These are the adjustable mechanical steering stops. This is to prevent the possibility of oversteering and damage to your steering linkage. Before each use, it is important to check the gearbox oil level to make sure it is adequately filled. Here is the full plug. When oil is at this level, it is correct. Also, use care. Never over tighten the gearbox cover bolts. They're recommended a maximum of 5 to 7 foot-pounds of torque. The heads are one of the most important parts of your Oxbo merger. We're going to go over all the various different parts, inspection, and maintenance needs. One of the first things to inspect on your pickup head are the pickup teeth. When new, they have a flat, rounded edge. After time and wear, they come to a point. One of your first maintenance items on your pickup head is the cam follower bearings. These are the bearings that run in the cam track. You will notice it is time to replace these when the outer race no longer has a domed edge and becomes flat and sharp. Here are the cam follower bearings. They are located on the inside track of each cam and the center of each head. You can clearly see the outer race of each bearing and when it is necessary to replace them. Another maintenance item to keep an eye on is your cam track wear. This is where your cam follower bearings run. Next are the finger bar bearings. Inspect them regularly and replace as needed. On the end of each head, you will find a hydraulic drive motor that drives the pickup head. Inside, you will find a drive coupler. Look at it annually to find out if it needs to be replaced. Another part of your routine inspection of your merger should be to look at your conveyor belts. Take a look at your belt splice. It's a familiar place for wear. Each conveyor comes equipped with 2 hydraulic drive motors. It uses a plastic shear hub not only to protect the hydraulic drive motor, but also to drive the conveyor belt. After each use, it is very important that you clean out your skid shoe linkage. This will prevent damage to any of the skid shoe components. A dirty return filter can cause damage to merger components and also hinder its performance. We recommend changing this filter every year and recommend changing the beam oil every 2 years. Located in the front of your oil beam is a suction screen. This is a 100 mesh steel screen that directly feeds your hydraulic pump. We recommend taking the screen out, washing it every time you change your beam oil. Another maintenance item, and something to keep an eye on daily, is your oil level of your merger. Your sight glasses are located in your tank. The proper level is at the bottom of the top sight glass when the oil is cold. This merger is equipped with a low oil sensor that will alarm at you in the cab should your oil get dangerously low. This is the electrical control box of your merger. This is where your fuses and relays are located, one of the first places to check when troubleshooting an electrical issue. Here we have the hydraulic block for the Oxbo merger. Everything that operates on this machine is mostly controlled right here in this area. We're going to go over a brief overview of this hydraulic block and some parts you might use in the field. Here we have diagnostic test ports to plug your gauges in, float pressure checking of your center head and your wings, tractor output pressure, flow controls for each of your heads, conveyor on-off valves, solenoid coils, and here you can check your pressures for drive pressure of each conveyor. Here we have the other side of the hydraulic control block. We'll start with adjustments for your relief pressures, one for each head, flow control adjustments for the speed of folding of each head. And over here we have your float pressure adjustment, one for the center and one for the wings. This is how you phase the head height cylinders. This is done from the seat of the tractor using the hydraulic remote. The remote needs to be held in the head raised position for 60 to 90 seconds. That will complete the phasing of the head height cylinders. This is important to keep uniform height on all of the heads. This should be done before each use and once a day. A 4,000 psi pressure gauge with a connect under pressure fitting will come with your Oxbo merger. You can check various pressures with your gauge. Here we are putting it on the tractor output pressure port. Minimum recommended pressure is 2,500 psi, a great first place to look when troubleshooting issues. A useful shortcut when troubleshooting conveyor issues is to use the manual override button on the conveyor reversing valve. By using a punch, you manually shuttle the valve to move the conveyor. This allows you to verify whether you have an electrical or hydraulic issue. Each head has its own flow control adjustment. This controls how fast each head unfolds. The Oxbo merger easily adjusts to varying ground conditions by adjusting the float pressure. This makes the header place more or less weight on the skid shoes based on your preferences. Factory setting is at 1200 psi on all three heads of a 330 and 1300 on the wings of a 334 with 1200 in the center. Your machine is equipped with 3 hydraulic accumulators. They are charged with nitrogen. They are to absorb spiking pressures to the hydraulic system when operating in the field. I hope you have found this video helpful to service and set up your Oxbo merger. For parts, additional service, and support, please contact your local Oxbo dealer.